Miss Anderson, will you come in, please? Miss Anderson, will you take a letter, please?
Yes, sir.
That's fine. W.
W?
Yeah, that's all the letter I want you to take because I want you to save your strength. A few minutes here, I'm due to start chasing you around the desk again.
Oh, we'll be working late again.
Oh, you bet your baby. Just a moment while I call my wife and tell her I'm going to be late. You want to start the tape recorder, please? Turn it right on. Yeah, hello, honey? Yeah, honey, this is Sugar Bot. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to be late again. Yeah, you see, I'm stuck here on the highway. Yes, I'm calling from one of those roadside emergency phone booths. The what? The engine trouble. I think the farm brindle got cut up with the sting dangle. Yeah. When? Oh, I guess I should be home in about 2 hours. Correction, honey, I think I'll be home in about 4 hours. Yes. No, well, I have to hang up now. Another motorist wants to use the phone. Yes, dear, I'm having trouble hearing you. Goodbye now. And now, my little chickadee, down to work. Story of my life. I never learned to run fast enough. That atrocious little charade was not to reveal any part of my private life. I hope you understand that. We were merely demonstrating a new invention. Have you ever wanted someone to think that you were someplace that you were not? Well, it's very easily arranged with the use of an alibi tape, just like the one that we demonstrated for you a moment ago. Now, we'll find out about that inventor in just a moment as soon as we say hello to our inventive panel here on To Tell the Truth. Gene Rayburn. Peggy Cass. Bill Collins. And Kitty Carlisle. Hi, everybody. Hello, Bill. And look who is back amongst our midst. We got Bill Cullen back with us. Bill Cullen time. Bill, my friends, you're missed. Where have you been?
I was in a contest. I entered the Greater Pittsburgh Hopscotch Contest.
Oh, you were in a hopscotch contest?
Yeah, we'd hop a few times and then we'd stop for a few scotches. And I won half the event.
Well, I'm glad that you're back.
I didn't hop too well, but I scotched up a storm. I have a bit of a gold medal to show for it.
We have Gene Rayburn and Les Girls, and we are ready to go to work. And now let us meet. That's French, you know.
Oh.
Yes. Now let us meet our alibi Ike. What do you say?
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Steve Lichtenstein.
Number two.
My name is Steve Lichtenstein.
Number three.
My name is Steve Lichtenstein.
And we have the usual problem. Only one of them really is Steve Lichtenstein, and here is his affidavit. It says, I, Steve Lichtenstein, know full well that an ironclad alibi can save a guy a lot of grief. I'm the president of an outfit that painstakingly prepares alibis for all occasions. Here's how it works. I have recorded on tape all sorts of sound effects that can form various background sounds for phony situations. Say, for example, that you're sitting in a boisterous bar and it's time to call your wife. Well, by holding your portable tape recorder near the phone, you switch on the reassuring sounds of busy office typewriters, or perhaps the more antiseptic areas one hears in a midtown hospital. Depending on the situation, the trusting homebody will be tuned in to traffic jams, lobby noises, or airport sounds. My messages are known as alibi tapes. Signed, Steve Lichtenstein. And we'll check into this whole ugly situation in just a moment after a few straightforward messages. Now, remember, all three of these gentlemen claim to be Steve Lichtenstein, president of a company that produces recorded alibis sound effects. Let's start the questioning with the honest-to-goodness Gene Rayburn.
Right, thank you. Number 2, how long have you been in business?
About a year and a half.
Yeah. Number 3, where do you get your sound effects? Do you go to a store and buy sound effects, or do you...
No, it's actual locations.
You take a recording outfit out there and go to a hospital?
No. I use a tape recorder. I use a Sony TC-110.
Number 1, when you sell the service, do you sell the cassette recorder and with the tapes and everything?
No, just the tape.
Just the tape?
Yes.
And is it expensive, number 1?
It's about $16.95 for 4 tapes.
Number 2, what 4 tapes are included?
Well, you get 4 tapes with 2 effects per tape. You get 8 effects on 4 different tapes.
Yeah, that buzzer takes us to... Peggy, you look angry already.
Well, I want to ask you, number 1, do you think that this is a nice thing to do?
Well, it helps people out of bad situations, saves pain.
But number 3, they get themselves into these rotten situations. Why should they have traffic noises to cover up the fact they're a bunch of bums? I'm perfectly serious.
I'm sorry, but we have women asking us for these tapes now.
Listen, I'm not saying I just think it's awfully dishonest. If a guy can't think of his own alibi, good luck to him. He should suffer. Number 2, would you please tell me why a hospital sound? You'd scare the poor girl to death if we called up with people screaming with pain in the background.
No, it just helps accent the old visiting a sick friend excuse.
Oh, he doesn't say he's all racked up in the emergency ward.
No, he just says he's visiting a friend in a hospital.
Thank you. Number 1, where are these things for sale? I'm starting to pick it.
Oh, through the mail. There are various ways you can get them.
Nasty through the mail. Does the government know you're selling this stuff through the mail?
Of course.
They do?
Sure. You have to take permits out.
You have a permit to do this? Well, I'm not for this administration anyway, but I must say this is too strong.
Go get him, Tiger!
Gracious. You can't blame everything on Agnew, you know, Peggy. Well, let's go to Bill Cullen.
Number 3, am I correct in assuming that this is to get a husband out of trouble? I mean, he's somewhere he's not supposed to be. He calls home, and like Gary did when he was dictating that letter, he calls home and he wants his wife to think he's somewhere else.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, usually, but it's not made just for husbands to get out of trouble.
Or wives, or boyfriends, or things like that. Now, number 1, now here's the point. Suppose you want to make your wife jealous. And suppose you are in the office and you are working like a dog, but you want her to think you're having a good time. Do you have tapes available with girls yelling the equivalent of whoopee in the background?
Well, we have barroom sounds.
Barroom sounds? Number 2, do you have sounds of the resultant pinchins that sometimes...
Well, we have the sound effects of a wild party, so that if you're alone in your apartment and you want to get a friend over, you can say, "Come on over, Mary, we're having a wild party."
And she gets there, and it's just the 2 of you. And you say, "If you think I'm going out for ice cream at this hour of the night, that's another story."
This plot is getting thicker than I had imagined. Let's go to Kitty.
I think you ought to be arrested, all of you. It's a disgrace. And furthermore, number 3, you're doing a terrible disservice to people who are on the level, because now you've publicized this. A guy is really stuck on the highway, and he calls his wife, and she won't believe him. How do you deal with that?
Wish for the best.
But that's not saving pain. That's causing pain. Now, number 1, you said it's not just for husbands. You have tapes for wives?
Yes, we have some.
Well, like what?
Beauty parlor sounds and
hair dryer.
Shopping. Yes.
Yeah. Shopping.
Supermarkets.
Yeah. And what else?
Well, we're just coming out with a line for women now. There's so many requests for it.
I think it's absolutely dreadful.
I recorded one in an insane asylum for when I wanted my wife to think I'm at Goodson Totten's office. Exactly. From Southwood. And in any event, we must form an opinion and we must vote. So let's take another look at them. Do you think it's number 1? Or do you think it's number 2? Or do you think it's number 3? It pays $50 anyhow for each wrong vote. It pays $500 if nobody guesses right. And Gene Rayburn commences.
Yes, Gary, I shall commence. I voted for number 1. And he appears to me to be only one who could have dreamed up this scheme because he has shifty eyes.
Yes, he has.
Number one, you have my permission to poke him in the nose after this is over. Right or wrong? And we go to the even-tempered Peggy Cass.
Well, I do think, I hope when Mary gets to that wild party that's non-existent, she gives you a clap in the chops. But I voted for number 2 because my mother said always watch out for those quiet ones.
We have a 1 and a 2 and a Bill Cullen coming out.
I had one of these tape machines once. I made myself, and I wanted my wife to think I was busy working at Goodson Tubman, and by mistake, I put on the opening record from the Boys in the Band. And if you don't think I had... Anyway, I voted for Gene Shifty Eyes. Number 1 looks like the type of fellow who would do this sort of thing.
We got 2 1s, and we've got a 2 and a Kitty Carlisle coming out.
Well, I voted for number 1, but I think your mother ought to give you a good spanking. You're too young to be doing that.
Well, we almost had a clean sweep, but not quite. The votes are all in. Will the real Steve Lichtenstein please shamefully stand up? It's number 2. Let's find out about number 1.
It takes one to know one, too.
Peggy, your mom was right, like you said. Number 1, you got 3 wrong votes. What is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Tony Rizzo, and I'm a photographer, writer, singer, impressionist in Hollywood.
Wow.
This schizophrenic.
Makes his own record.
An honest-looking, wholesome number 3. What is your name, please, sir, and what do you do?
My name is Andy Kane. I'm Vice President of Baxter Search Personnel Agency.
Steve, I won't turn you over to this group. I don't trust them. Thank you very much, you and your imposters, for being here with us on To Tell the Truth. And if you think that was fun, we got something nifty coming up. Our next guest is one of those on every airplane, an airline stewardess. But this particular stewardess has a very fine story indeed, and we'll find out about that after a few high-flying commercials.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Ida Staggers.
Number 2.
Number 2?
My name is Ida Staggers.
Number 3.
My name is Ida Staggers.
All right, and let us listen, please, to Ida Staggers' airborne affidavit. It says, I, Ida Staggers, have been an airline hostess for more than 30 years, longer than any other stewardess now flying. When I first joined TWA, it took 8 hours to fly from Kansas City to Newark. The passengers were served lunch boxes at meal times, and all of us hostesses had to be registered nurses. Over the years, I have flown most of TWA's world routes, fulfilling the ambition I had when I first joined them. That ambition was to get around, see the world, and not stay in one spot all my life. Currently, I am flying the most up-to-the-minute run from California to Vietnam. However, I don't mean to keep flying all the rest of my life. I intend to retire when I am 65. Signed, Ida Staggers. And as usual, we will start with our aerodynamics expert, Bill Cullen.
Number 1, I assume when you became a hostess, you were a registered nurse, were you not? And number 2, is it correct that everybody in those days had to be a registered nurse?
Yes, we all had to be registered.
I'll go back to number 1 and ask, 30 years ago, which would be 1941, what type of equipment did you fly?
DC-3s and DC-2s.
How many, number 3, how many passengers did they hold? The DC-3s and DC-2s.
25.
How many, number 2, if I may ask, this is an indelicate question, but it is important because I used to get up there and stay up a long time. How many restrooms did you have up there for those people?
We had one.
I see. Number 1, how was it marked? Ladies or gentlemen?
Just lavatory.
Yeah. Take your chances.
It was marked good luck.
Yeah.
And we go to Kitty Carlisle.
Number 3, did you see all the world you wanted to?
Not quite yet.
Where are you going now?
Well,
After
I'm going to Vietnam.
Yeah, but after that?
What do you mean?
I mean, what's your ambition?
Oh, I have to see China, Hong Kong,
Oh, well, that's
Japan,
enough.
South
That's enough.
America.
Number 2, what did you do for food on those early planes?
We had box lunches, usually cold chicken. Indianapolis had the best cold chicken.
I've had that, yeah. I've been on those planes with those box lunches. Number 1, when I first flew from California, it took 18 hours. How many times did we stop for food? Do you remember?
When you first went?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. We stopped for food only.
Yeah.
Oh, food 3 times.
Number 3, can you name the stop?
And from Kitty, we're going to go down to Gene Rayburn for the last... No, Gene Rayburn and Peggy. Yeah.
Now, number 3, Indiana, number 2 said that they stopped in Indianapolis for fried chicken because it was very good. What's so distinctive about Indiana fried chicken? Do you happen to know, number 3?
Well, it's straight from the farm, and it has a heavy batter.
Yeah. Number 2, how many passengers did the DC-2 carry?
14 passengers.
Yeah. And number 1, was a DC-2 aluminum or fabric?
Fabric.
Yeah. Fabric.
What? I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
No, you answered my question.
Very snarky.
No, number 2, did you ever have an opportunity to use any of the things you studied as a registered nurse?
Well, not really, just my common sense with a professional background.
Number 3, why did they require hostesses to be registered nurses?
Well, they did. They don't anymore.
I mean, why? Why was it, number 3?
Well, I think it was because of the feeling of emergency. And people up in the air, of course, anything could happen up there, and you'd better be ready for anything.
Yeah. Number 2...
Thank you, Gene. And we go to Peggy, please.
I don't wish to be indelicate, but nobody's brought this up. Number 3, didn't they try to put an age limit on the ages of stewardesses recently?
Well, they couldn't because the law was passed, you see, 2 years ago, that over 65. Under 65, they can't ask questions anymore, you know?
No? But number 1, now supposing like a bunch of young GIs get on, well, like say when you're 65, number 1, and there's like 2 of you girls of 65, those guys are, I mean, it's motherly and all, but what you really expect a stewardess is to say coffee, tea, or milk, you know. Don't they get disappointed? I don't mean yes.
I don't think so,
No,
and I hope not.
No, I mean when you're 65. Can you, number 2, can you get married if you're a stewardess now?
TWA lets hostess be married. I can't speak for the other airlines.
Oh.
And ask not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for all of us. We must mark our ballots for number 1, or for number 2, or for number 3. $50 is the penalty for a wrong vote, $500 if nobody guesses correctly. Bill Cullen?
Well, you know, I was all set to vote for number 2 because when Johnny Olson asked her name, she didn't hear him, and I figured the engine noise through the years had gotten to her hearing. But the answer about TWA allowing the stewardesses to marry and her not knowing about the others, most airlines do now, by law, have to allow them to marry. So for that reason and no other, I voted for number 3.
We've got a number 3 showing,
yep.
And Kitty Carlisle.
Well, they're all marvelous, and I don't think any of them look as though they're anywhere near retirement age. But I voted for number 2. I think she looks like she really has done all of this.
Has a certain professional cachet about her. All right, Gene?
Well, number 3 said the Indiana fried chicken has a heavy batter. Wrong. It's a nice light batter. Indiana fried chicken is characterized by its marvelous crisp taste and the way they do it. So I voted for number 2's Indianapolis-style fried chicken.
Thank you, Colonel. And we've got a pair of 2s and a 3 showing. And Peggy?
No, not me.
No?
I think number 1 looks just like a stewardess. Yeah. So I vote for her.
You think so?
Yes.
All right. Well, now, by a different way of revealing the real Ida Staggers, we have a picture taken of Ida in her stewardess cap taken 35 years ago. So panel and audience, watch your monitor. Will the real 1936 Ida Staggers please appear on screen? There she is, and of course we immediately know it is number 2. Ida Staggers, please stand. I didn't immediately. Thank you, Ida. Nice job, ladies. Number 1, you got 1 wrong vote. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Joan Forrest, and I'm a housewife.
Very good.
You're right, she's got that personality. Yeah.
Great smile.
And your answer of fabric was absolutely correct.
I'm glad to hear that.
I know you're a little surprised, but it was right. Let's go to number 3 with one wrong vote. What is your real name and what do you do,
My name is
please?
Loretta White, and I'm the author of a good cookbook called The Good Egg.
I know that you're ready for all emergencies, but what do you do when with somebody who is afraid of airplanes?
The best thing to do with a passenger that's afraid of an airplane, if they say they are, is talk to them. Just talk to them.
I know one fellow who can't sleep all night before he flies, and he gets the shakes, and he's in I keep telling him that he ought to change jobs. He should not be an airline captain. Ida, thank you very much.
And
you know that's a lie. Thank you. It is only Monday. We've had fun already. What can happen on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Tune in and see. We'll see you then.
Transportation and other considerations provided by Chevrolet, featuring the new Nova, the not too big, not too small Chevrolet. Easy to park, economical, great on the highway, room for 5 or 6 adults. Nova, a great Chevrolet value. Hotel accommodations, courtesy of the luxurious Fox Sheraton Hotel, home of the famous Mermaid Room, right in the heart of Manhattan, and convenient to everything. Prizes or product mentions were furnished and or paid for by the manufacturers or supplier of the products or services identified on this program. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Woodson, Bill Topman production.